Hello, welcome back to our episode, the 7th episode of Medically Speaking. This is Akshay, your host, and today we're going to do something very special with our episode here. So we're going to look at all the wonderful moments we've had in our previous episodes and what the listeners thought that was good, and we're going to run through them and we're going to talk about it a little bit. And for that, I have my wonderful co-host here, Sarvesen, and our precious editor, Faustina. So please do introduce yourselves further.
Hi guys, I'm Sarvesen back again today, and I'm happy to be joining on this episode to do that throwback thing we've always wanted to do. And now back to you, Faustina.
Hi guys, I'm Faustina Kumari. I'm also in the same batch as Akshay and Sarvesen and Tutu, and I have edited all the episodes that you've listened to so far. So if you have any compliments, direct them to me. If you have any criticisms, direct them straight to Akshay. Thank you.
Thank you, Faustina. That was a very wonderful start for the episode. I think this is fantastic. With that being said, how about we start our wonderful episode?
That sounds great. I'm excited.
Me too. I very much am. How about you, Sarvesen?
Oh, for me, I don't know. I don't really remember the first episode. So why don't we give them a short idea of what was the first episode?
I'll leave it to you, Faustina.
Our first clip is from our first episode, A Journey into Healthcare with Dr. J. Prakash. In this clip, our host Akshay asked Dr. J if he has any advice for students who are struggling in medicine. And here's what he had to say.
True. Actually, it brings me a lot of memories of my days as a student, those challenges I had. Let me tell you this honestly, Akshay.
Sure.
During my earlier times, I had pretty rough times, like many students do. But I had my own learning going through that phase. I'll come from that point of view to answer your question.
Okay, sure, please.
So basically, again, as I said in my earlier response, the one factor that kept me going even through those rough times was the reason for which I joined medicine.
Okay.
I never let that go out of focus. I never let that shift my focus. It so happens that I see from my students now that when they want to join in, and I do take student interviews and all, right?
Okay.
So when we ask them, why do you choose this profession? The answer is usually, I want to, engage community. I want to do well-being. I want to, take care of patients and everything. All are fantastic. But as they move into the academic year, the pressure hits on them.
Yes.
And their motive is not to become a good doctor. Their motive is to pass their exams.
Rather to finish their
course and to finish their career. So what they are doing is they are ready to compromise their competencies in order to just complete the course.
Okay.
And there they lose the focus of why they join medicine.
Yes.
So what I'm trying to say here is that my inspiration actually came to go through those hurdles. Probably in our discussion earlier in the corridor discussion that you and me had, I always told you that focus on the main agenda of you becoming a good doctor.
Yes.
So if your agenda is to focus on becoming a good doctor, an efficient doctor, you failing will not be a matter of it will not be something that you will it will affect you emotionally. You will feel bad that you failed, but it is another opportunity to learn as well.
That is true. And as you know, I've been in certain situations that made me continuously come by as well.
Correct. So again, as I said, these are opportunities for you to reflect and say that, yes, I didn't do well, and that's why I didn't perform well, and that's why my results are not well. So the purpose of this is that I should do better next time.
Yes.
So I fixed the problem. So we all have spoken about fixing the process.
Yeah.
Right, and not worrying about the results. So that is something which motivated me to go through that.
So guys, what do you think?
Okay, Akshay, you have to start first. What did you actually talk in that corridor?
Really? Okay, so what happened was that, as you already know, my journey in IMU has been quite of a hiccup in the initial parts. And as usual, I was standing there, because actually Dr. J is my mentor. I think I had to say that, but he is my actual mentor.
You talk about that plenty, actually.
Fair enough. Damn, okay, you don't have to call me out like that. But, so my mentor, Dr. J, he before the podcast and everything, we were at the corner and he was like, so how are you doing now? I bet you're like crying about something or worried about something. And I was like, I don't think I've ever told him no. And I was like, oh yes, like, you know, this exam was coming in, because that time FAP was coming up for our Sem4. And I was like, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that, all kinds of nonsense. And Dr. J was like, listen, like, you just have to, that's where his advice came about, actually. So that's essentially what was happening in that corridor.
Okay, it makes sense.
Personally
though, whenever I feel questioning my decision to even join medical school, yes, that happens when I'm like going through hundreds of lectures wondering, why do I want to save people in the first place? Yeah, Dr. J's response rings true in that sense. Like, why did I get into medical school in the first place? You know, even though we have hundreds of things going in our mind, distractions and whatnot, it does make sense to think why we got into it in the first place.
Okay, I guess that makes sense, but you have to understand that I was in a very different perspective for that. Like, I had never questioned why I was in medicine. I wanted to be here after all.
Yeah, it's more of a moment of vulnerability.
Okay, fair enough. But for me, I never had that moment in terms of that area, because I hold up straight away. Like, as soon as I finished my high school, like, I went about to like enjoy life, went to like, you know, here and there, like did another degree, and then came back, and then only I decided to do medicine. So when I came to medicine, I was like, this is it, man. Like, I'm doing this kind of thing, you know. So my problem was that, like, I just bumped into certain things here in IU, and that was what was like pulling my hair. So that was my concern at the time. So I guess we all have our own worries. What about you, Faustina? No, like, no one gets to hear about the editor, so this is your chance. Like, just tell us.
So, okay, hearing this episode, and especially hearing Dr. J speak about his own struggles, and basically like the exact same thing that all of us go through, I felt, you know, a bit more hopeful. Like, everyone says that, you know, medical school is tough, and like it's tough for everyone, but you don't really believe it, because like some people are like, they can just take things in stride and they never struggle, I guess. But it's not true, and it felt like, this is a doctor who teaches here, right? And he went through the same things, and he's coming and he's giving me advice, and I felt like really, I don't know, I felt comforted by that fact.
Okay.
Yeah, that's an understandable point of view. That, you know, even though we hear, I mean, even if you ask me today, is medical school tough, stressful? I'd say it's okay. Now I'd say it's okay. Before FPE, you asked me the same question.
I don't think any sane person in medical school will have 100% moment of saying, yeah, medicine was a breeze. No way in hell. Like, that is just not happening. If you say that,
you're a psychopath?
Yeah, you're a psychopath. You are crazy. Something's genuinely wrong with you.
Okay, so why don't we move on to the next episode?
So, coming up next, we have a clip from our second episode with our guest, Dr. Juliet, from our episode titled An Enigma Unraveled with Dr. Juliet. Dr. Juliet is the director of CSSC at IMU. She's also the chairperson of MMA Selangor, and she's also a counselor. She's a very interesting woman. And here in this clip, she bonds with our host Akshay over his homeland of Sabah. Here's that.
As a houseman, medical officer, I've had my fair share of, you know, everything in the hospital. I was posted in Sabah.
Oh, really? Yes, you've told me this before, yeah.
Sabah as a houseman.
Okay.
And it's different from here, because there you're left alone to do everything. You're handling resuscitation of neonates, and, you know, you're doing your cesareans in the first year itself. So I've done all that. And coming back now, I'm glad where I am.
Okay.
And also, my husband still runs a 24-hour clinic.
Okay.
I don't enjoy sitting there. So
oh, no, okay.
So if that answers your question about missing clinical side,
Fair enough.
I think I love teaching.
Okay, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And like I remember you telling me that you've been to Sabah because you asked me like, oh, like do you know these people? And I was like, oh yeah, I know them very well. Yeah. And like, do you miss Sabah?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Sabah is a beautiful place to be in. I love the people.
Yes.
Growing as a young doctor was fantastic there.
Yes, I think Sabah is a habit in this part of the world.
And I think that's why to a certain extent I cannot understand housemanship and the problems they go through because I've had my share of I don't call it bullying, but stress in housemanship. But Sabah was a beautiful ground to learn.
Yes, it is. So I've heard.
With the fair share of stress and such. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
So, guys, what do you think about that?
Well, I just have to say that, like, I love Sabah. I always have. Always
saying every chance you get, Akshay.
Yes, I have to.
You can't do that, okay? I'm a proud Quantanese. I have to flex my roots at times, but that's not what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. You see?
We have beaches. We have good beaches.
Yeah, what?
Good beaches.
We have better.
Okay. Show off. Okay, but forget about those, nice sceneries and stuff. She talked something more important there. She said,
like, what would you like to know?
What would I like? No. She's talked about, having to resuscitate a neonate on her own. While she was doing her housemanship in Sabah. How do you think you would have handled that as a houseman,
Okay. As a houseman, first of all, I don't really know how to resuscitate a neonate at this point of my life. Because, exactly. Do you know?
I can save an adult.
Okay, that I can do as well, but what about a neonate, right? What about you, Faustina? Can you? She probably can. She lives in the hospital.
Shush. I don't know. I don't want to say anything. Like, what if tomorrow there's like a neonate in my hands?
Wait, didn't we learn that in BLS?
Yeah, man. Infant.
Yeah, we learned it.
Yeah, we just did that.
You should all actually be able to. What are we saying? Yes, we should all be able to.
Well, that's embarrassing. But would I be able to handle it? I would confidently say that I can.
I mean, handling a baby toy, that's fine. I can do it at home on my sleep.
Now, why would you be doing such a thing?
That's a question, Faustina. We'll get back to that later.
Having to handle a real neonate, like who's there alive or almost in their way to heaven or something, and you're the only person in charge there. I guess that's a very stressful situation to be put on as a a novice.
Yeah, 100%. Nah, I'm not denying that at all. But if I would be able to handle it on myself, I'm saying yes now. Probably due to overconfidence or just having faith in myself or whatnot. But in all honesty, if I'm put into that situation, I obviously will try my best. But I goddamn assure you that I'll be terrified and petrified and all kinds of things. And I've been told that from lecturers, most doctors that you meet, that every medical profession, like regardless of you're a doctor, nurse, or whatever, you go through those moments somewhere, somehow. So I think that I hope that answers you somehow.
What was my question again? Oh yeah, will you be able to do it? Yeah, agreed on that.
What about you? You asked me. What about you?
Myself, would I be able to do it? I think with practice it will come. But yeah, first time I might be panicking a little bit.
Fair enough.
But then I'll catch on to it, I'm a quick learner.
At least
I convinced myself so, manifesting.
So what about you, Faustina? You're gonna be in the UK soon, so what do you think? How are you gonna deal with this?
I mean, I've had like CPR cases, but like I've never had a kid case or a baby. But there is like absolutely like this terrifying feeling, but also in the moment you're so like preoccupied with trying to be as quick as possible. It doesn't really hit you until afterwards. Oh dang! Like, wow, that was insane. But I think for a kid, it could be different because like, I don't know, it's just so small and like it's so precious. You just really want to give it your all. I have faith that I would do my best, and I hope that would be enough. I think that would be enough.
Fingers crossed it'll be enough. Alright, now, shall we segue into the third clip for today?
Yes, we may.
Okay, so moving on to episode 3, welcome to Clinicals. What's on the other side? With Shahana. This clip, Sarvesen, our host, asks if she has any interesting stories from bedside teaching to share with us. So let's get to that.
I think one interesting story that I would like to say is that I got to witness a real life CPR scenario, and I think for me at that moment what I felt was, honestly, I was just shocked. I was just standing there just witnessing it, and I saw how the doctors in the wards, they all worked together, and they were actually taking turns doing CPR on the patient, if you know. But at last the patient did not make it, which was the sad part of it. But I think witnessing the whole CPR and how the doctors actually communicated with each other was actually something very fascinating for me.
Okay, I mean, most people would be still in shock, or like, passing of a person and seeing it in person. How was it? How was the experience for you?
I think for me, I actually could not forget about that experience. I think I sat for like a whole day rethinking about it. I didn't even have like a good dinner after I saw what just happened in the ward. But I think, as you get used to it, you'll actually, get over all these feelings. But it also makes you a better person, because you actually start to realize, the hardships that the family actually went through, being with their family member who actually just passed away.
And we're back. So, Sarvesen, since you're the host this time, what do you feel about this clip? Anything to add?
Okay, I would like to talk about that, seeing someone pass away a bit, because I did experience that while I was doing my elective posting. We had to call the death of a person, and interestingly enough, we were actually seeing that person every single day, like with ward rounds and everything. And she seemed to, be fine one day, and then all of a sudden she's like going away too fast. She was deteriorating, and the next day we had to call her time of death, and that was not something I was expecting. I mean, the passing was a shock, but the process of actually calling the death was not something that maybe I haven't experienced it personally. But yeah, it was an interesting moment in my elective posting. Akshay, what do you have to say about that?
Before that actually, Sarvesen, I want to ask, how did you go about your day after that? Because for me, when I told that to my friend, whoever at the time, they were like, oh my god, I can't believe you reacted like that. So I want to know, how did you react? How was your day after that?
To be utterly honest, I was unaffected. I felt indifferent, like it was just another day. I mean, I was technically working in the oncology ward, so, sending someone to hospice or seeing them pass away was not a new thing.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, but although she was the only person that I saw who actually passed away, mostly people pass away in hospice, so it's a rare occasion that happened, but I was more so indifferent.
I see. Okay. Well, for me, it was so I had this patient in the HDU actually during my electives as well, and the day before, she was quite weak actually. She was quite weak. She was like swelling up. She's quite large, and like she was going into DKA, which for many people who don't know, she was going into diabetic ketoacidosis. Please go read about it if you don't know about it. I'm pretty sure Dr. J. Prakash will be very happy to hear that you read about it. But for all the IMU students, that is. So she was going into DKA, and then like during that time, I even helped insert Branula and everything to this patient. And like she was fine. She was holding my hand. She couldn't speak much, but she was nodding her head and she was crying. And like I was holding her hand. I was there for her for a while. And the next morning, I'm going back to the hospital, like as usual, to go see, because I wanted to see how she was. I'm walking into the HDU. People are already doing CPR and trying to, do everything that needs to be needed. And at that moment, and then she just left. She's going into hypertensive state and she's just gone. And I didn't know how to feel. I was like, oh my god, like this is very sad. But I personally couldn't feel much. I wasn't like, I wasn't like the speaker who like didn't have a good dinner and all these kind of things, I nicely went to have roti canai after that, after my meeting with when they discussed about the whole the thing, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go have breakfast, and I just went about my day. So I think I do understand how you feel, Sarvesen, because I think I went through a similar reaction, and I don't know if I should be proud of it or not.
But then again, I'm thinking about what happened that day, and my senior house officer, she came to me and she said, "We're gonna call someone's death. Would you want to come and observe what's done?" And I said, yes. So I should have suspected my morality at that moment when I said,
if you said yes to a time of death with that much enthusiasm, I would be worried.
Okay, listen now. I said it because I just wanted to learn something new. It was something that I've never thought I would learn. So that was something of, a new thing. A new thing is always something that excites me,
Thousands. When Sarvesen does become a good doctor, I'm pretty sure he'll become a very good doctor.
Thank you, love.
If he reacts like that in front of me as a physician, I am probably gonna freak out and just leave.
My God, he's not gonna react like that. Everyone, when it's like the first thing to do something, you're like, wow! And after the 100th time you do it, you're like, oh, okay, another day in the job.
Oh, yeah, get used to it. Yeah.
Fair enough. Alright, Faustina, I heard that there's another episode in line for episode 4, I believe. Do you have that ready?
Well, indeed I do, good sir.
Thanks.
Moving on to episode 4, Interview with Med School Newbies. Also known as the episode where our very own Rakesh and Lillian, who's our secretary and our PR manager, was on our show. So in this clip, our host Sarvesen asks them what inspired them to do medicine. And here's that.
Okay, sure. So, are you guys aware of the TV show called Grey's Anatomy?
No.
Bye. Seriously.
I'm not joking. Sadly, there was a specific character. What was her name? Christina Yang.
Oh my god. Okay.
She was a cardiothoracic god. So I hope that when I grow older and I specialize, that I also become a cardio god.
I hope you know what cardiothoracic surgeons do in Malaysia.
Oh, well, we are PMS students, so we wouldn't really be practicing in Malaysia.
Show off. Okay, Lillian.
Have you guys heard of this TV show called House?
Okay, House.
No, I'm joking. House commits medical malpractice all day, so no, that was not my... He didn't influence me to go to med school, but like I said earlier, when I was doing a short internship at a hospital, I met a lot of wonderful doctors there, and I've always had this idea that doctors can be quite strict and quite mean to students as well, but they were so wonderful and they taught me lots, and that kind of really solidified my decision as well.
That's so sweet. I wish I had doctors like that in KK. Okay. Okay, KK doctors are nice guys. I'm not meaning anything yet. Alright.
Are you sure?
Okay, next question.
And we're back.
We'll get to the KK part later on, but before that, I just have to tell you guys, I love the show House. I just had to say that. Like, I love House.
And I love medical malpractice. For legal reasons, that's a joke.
You must do, Faustina. Okay. Just so you know, this was in a live podcast and it's gonna be out tomorrow.
It's a joke, guys.
But guys, come on. I want to know your part also. What inspired you both to come into medicine? Let's start with Sarvesen.
Okay. Before I go forward, I just wanted to say again, no shade towards the KK doctors. They're lovely. They're so helpful.
Right.
I just want to set the record straight, and I wanted to reflect. Okay, now back to your question.
we all believe that, don't we, Faustina?
You should. They are the loveliest people on the KK. Yeah. Okay.
They are.
Back to the question.
He just woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
What got me into medicine? Alright, that was the question I had to answer to get into IMU, but honestly, I never really thought about any other profession. Like, ever since I was probably 8 years old and the teacher asks you in the class, okay, what's your ambition? I said doctor.
Really?
And since then it just stuck with me. All my friends were saying, oh, scientist, I want to be an astronaut. I said doctor. Even though it seemed humble enough, I made it, I guess.
Fair enough. Kudos to that.
Yeah.
And what about you, Faustina?
Well, I don't think I always wanted to be a doctor. I was one of those kids that wanted to be an astronaut or a general scientist because science is a science thing, you know? And my parents weren't against me doing medicine, but they didn't actively discourage it. They were like, it's a difficult field, you know, you should only do it if you really want to. And I was always like, no, I don't really want to do it. I want to have fun. And besides, I don't want to talk to people. And you have to talk to people to be a doctor. And then I go through life, I go to school, and I'm like, oh, I like science. I like biology. Still don't want to do medicine. Oh, I want to do research. But then, you know, I was doing A-levels, and I was like, I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I realized the only thing that I was drawn to in all the subjects and everything had to do with the human body. Every time I had any artistic inclination, it was usually to draw organs and stuff like that, you know? So I wasn't ready to admit that I wanted to be a doctor because I don't think I believed in myself that much. I had to get the confidence through age and experience before I believe that I could be a doctor and actually be, you know, able to get through it. And what about you, Akshay?
What about me? Okay.
Yes, what about you?
Geez, sorry, it's a disaster. But
Okay.
Okay, you might need an actual whole episode to hear that part, but I'm gonna give you the short answer.
Okay.
Essentially, I saw a cadaver when I was doing my pre-medicine in the US, and I got to operate on this cadaver for a whole semester.
Okay.
And that eventually brought me here. That's basically the short answer. And I like doing this. It's something. I like the nobility of it and the essence of doing medicine, and that's really it for the short answer. That is.
Okay, but then that's really short and sweet as Akshay can go. But you know, the wonders a cadaver can do. But I do have to agree with Faustina though. You know, the idea of meeting so many people is something that excites me every day. You know, I go to school, I go to anywhere, any social event, just for the sake of meeting new people, new stories, new experiences.
That is true. I share that with Sarvesen. I love talking to people.
That was literally the one thing that made me you know what, I'll go into medicine, but I'll go into pure research. But I fell in love with the clinical side. I realized I got better with people through medicine. It's not it helped me to actually reach people.
Yeah. I think through clinical side is how we met as well, actually. Yeah, so that's the wonders clinical sites can do to you, I guess.
And I also have to add that, you know, my love for medicine just grew with every learning session. Especially, I remember this question right now. I asked Dr. Nabil when he was teaching us the anatomy of kidney. I asked him, why does the right kidney is in a different shape? It's like this pyramidal shape, I think. I think that's the suprarenal gland. And
Yeah, the adrenal gland, yeah.
Yeah, another one is cuboidal. I asked him, like, why a different shape for the same function, for the same amount of everything? Why a different shape?
And what do you say to that?
And he said, if you cannot find a answer to that, we'll do a research paper together.
Wow. Wonderful.
Yeah, isn't it fascinating that our body can do so many magical things?
It really is. It really is.
Oh, our body is the most magnificent thing that I've ever seen.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah, the amount of things it can do just fascinates me every day. I just feel bad eating fast food now.
I don't. I don't.
I can't give up my chocolate sundae.
Fair enough. What about you, Faustina? What's your favorite guilty pleasure?
Cheesecake.
Really? Okay.
Oh my god. I freaking love cheesecake, but it's like the most calorie dense, like richest dessert on planet Earth.
Fair enough. I destroyed a cheesecake yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Alright, so I think we have 2 more episodes to go through, yeah?
Yep.
As this wonderful throwback. And again, thank you both for coming to this. And let's go on to the next episode then.
So, moving on to episode 5, White Coats in New Lands, the Expat Doctor Experience with Dr. Sunil. Dr. Sunil is a pathology lecturer right here in IMU, and I have been taught by him before. He's an excellent lecturer. And in this episode, he talks about his experience studying and working in the UK and India. In this clip, our host Akshay asks him a very important question of how did he cope with the food in the UK?
Oh, okay, right. The first time that I was really away from home, having to fend for myself was the first time in the UK, and I had zero clue of how to even keep a cup of rice.
Oh, really? Oh my god! Okay.
So it was me having to learn the skill. Luckily, I had friends who had some idea, so gradually picked up my cooking skills.
Okay.
In terms of food, there were challenges, especially me who was not used to having a traditional continental breakfast of maybe toast and baked beans.
Okay.
So there were this initial few days when I was feeling really nauseous when I saw the baked beans and the toast on my plate. I was like, how could I,
okay. Some idli sambar would have been nice. Okay.
Yeah. So that was difficult, but I think as time got by, I got used to it. In fact, I'm a vegetarian by birth.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh my god, okay.
But staying there in the UK, getting vegetarian food, especially within the hospital, is a big challenge.
Yeah.
And then me having to do on-calls, working late nights, meant that I had to, eat whatever I get in the hospital, which meant that I would have to eat non-veg no other go. So
you ended up like non-veg?
Yeah.
Okay.
So got used to it, but let me tell you, being in Malaysia, I think, is like being in a more sophisticated India.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because I think you get everything here in Malaysia, especially in KL and Selangor.
Mm-hmm.
So I've really never felt so much away from home. You have the similar culture. You have friends who speak the same language. There are a lot of religious places, temples especially, that you can go to.
Yeah.
A lot of Indian restaurants, you get the same stuff that we get.
Yeah.
Yeah. So being in Malaysia, I've never felt that.
Really, doctor? I find that hard to believe. So if you could tell me one dish that you said, no matter how the people anywhere make it, it's not the same as home. Is there a dish like that?
Yeah. The one thing that is not here, it's there, but I wouldn't say the same quality as what we get.
Okay.
Is these chaat items, so things like
like
pani
puri.
puri.
Okay.
I've had a lot of places. There are some restaurants which do make it, but again, that taste what we get back at home isn't the same here.
So, what is your favorite chaat item, Doc?
Pani puri.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I see. Me too. I love pani puri and bel puri.
Yes, and in India they serve it in a very different way. So you get a like a small bowl that's made of leaves.
Yeah.
And then there's this man dipping the puri
You give it
into a mud pot, which has this liquid that has many spices and water in it, and then you continue to go and eat. So that one I haven't seen here.
Yeah. I don't think, neither have I actually. I have really not seen that here either.
Yeah.
Wow. Now that was a moment that I quite enjoyed, and I'm still shocked that we even had that conversation. Like, you see, like when I first walked into IMU, like I was low key terrified of Dr. Sunil, and never did I think that I would be like, oh, one day I'll be sitting with him in a podcast room talking about bel puris and pani puris, like what? But I would like to ask, have both of you or either of you had bel puris and pani puris before?
I had pani
You know
puris
what?
before.
Yes.
I went to India recently. Okay, you know what? I went to India recently, and because of this episode, because I edited it and I heard the pani puri and how deliciously it was described, I went there and immediately I told my mother, I want to try pani puri. I have eaten it before, but I was craving it like nobody's business. So thank you, Dr. Sunil.
Really? That episode made such an impact on you, huh?
Listen, man, I saw like these stalls of people, these like men selling pani puri, and I thought of Dr. Sunil in that moment.
Okay.
All of a sudden, Medically Speaking is a foodie podcast.
Yes. Now I actually am craving pani puri right now. Do either of you want to go to Brickfields and get a pani puri right now?
No.
Okay, too bad. Everyone's closed.
I actually have a question I have to ask you guys. So in that clip, Dr. Sunil, he said that when he started off, he didn't know how to cook a cup of rice. Can you guys cook a cup of rice?
Well, I've been cooking 7 courses meal since I was 8, okay? I had to live alone. I have been doing this shit for a while.
Wow.
What about you, Sarvesen?
Have I cooked a cup of rice? Of course. Yeah, duh. I mean, I grew up in an Indian household. Yeah. That's
Dr. Sunil didn't grow up in an Indian household?
He's literally
okay, yeah. Maybe spoke out of turn. Maybe spoke too. But you know what? Gen Z kids can cook a cup of rice.
Sure.
I can vouch for. I can vouch.
I can cook a cup of rice in a rice cooker. Does that count?
No, it does not.
It does.
I can cook it. It'll just be overcooked.
So, okay, I'm gonna ask you guys again. Can you cook rice without a rice cooker?
It'll be cooked. Not well, but yes.
A more important question, though.
Do ask.
You know how he moved to a whole nother country, a whole nother continent, and he had to give up his own values and practices he grew up with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Him being a vegetarian, and he had to, survive in a way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think it's going to be, especially to you, Faustina, since you are going to a partner medical school, and you'll be put in settings and circumstances where you will have to compromise on your values, your principles, and practices. How do you feel about that?
It's a really good question. And the answer is I thought about it, and you have to think about it if you're going to, go to another country where things are different. And I think I'm prepared. I'm going to try my best to stick to my values and, carry on my, traditions and stuff like that. I'm not vegetarian, but on Fridays I am for religious reasons. I intend to carry on my religion and try to stick to my values as soon as possible. But I don't want it to ever compromise my studies, and I don't think it will, because honestly they don't really clash. And when it comes to the attitudes and stuff, I feel like things have gotten much more better. People are more accepting. I don't want to be completely naive to, having to give up stuff, but I think I'm prepared. And worst comes to worst, I feel like I have a support system here. My family, I can always talk to them. I can always ask for advice. I can always ask my dear Akshay for advice. My buddy, my pal.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Right.
sure.
Hey, I'm a very good friend to her, okay? You just
Listener,
don't know me.
I'll have you know, he was pointing at himself aggressively through the screen.
Jeez.
I learned what's going behind the scenes. But yeah, that was a good answer. You have to know what you stand for. And yeah, some places we might have to make that sacrifice, but to assimilate ourselves into their community, especially. Because when everyone's like doing the same thing and you're the only one doing something else, and you stand out like a sore thumb, and especially in a place you're new to, where you're trying to, make friends, socialize, and create a community for yourself, it's not as easy when you're having, so many differences. What do you think about that, Akshay?
For me, it's a very different situation. Because I grew up kind of white. So, if you're asking me in that aspect, I had more culture shock in KL than when I went to the US or the UK. So, that was my story, which was hilarious when I called my mom and she was like, "What have I done?" So, yeah, so that was really the case for me. When I went to the US, I actually studied there, right, for like a good 3.5 years. The only thing that I ever changed in terms of my culture or beliefs or anything was that I started to eat beef. That was really it. That was the only thing that ever really changed about me, which I quit a while back after coming here because I had options and I didn't really need the reason to. And like, even when it came to beef, right, I loved the niche things like brisket and like, like steak and stuff like that, which wasn't so common here. So I just stopped. So that was the only thing that changed for me. But I do agree the way that both of you look at it. Like, if you do have a lot of beliefs and like practices, especially that is not norm at a place that's new, I feel like it takes a toll on the person a lot more compared to someone like me. So it's a lot, because I had housemates and roommates back when I was in the US, and like I saw my like literal roommate, like we lived in the same room, like I saw my roommate go through like homesickness and like, that like the things that he had to change himself, and dietary beliefs, everything made him miss home a lot more. And that was quite painful to watch, I have to say.
As depressing as it sounds, it is true.
Yeah.
Alright, okay, to liven up the mood a bit, let's go to that next episode now, shall we?
Yes, we shall.
Our final clip is from episode 6, Partner Medical School, PMS, The Hustle. The PMS system in IMU can be quite enigmatic to those who aren't in the know. So in this clip, our guests Uni and Nia from ME222 talk a bit about their own experience. Our host Sarvesen asks them what led them to choose their first choice of university. And here's what they had to say.
That's a good question. So the first one would be the quality of the teaching there. I would say that it's definitely decent from what I've heard. So there's like a guarantee that we'll receive a high quality training. And the second bit is for my personal interests, where I enjoy doing art related hobbies, and I've heard that they have a lot of festivals and concerts in that area.
From what I've heard, the clinical trainings in Glasgow is really one of the top in Scotland as well as in UK. So I would like to be immersed in that kind of environment where I can, train my clinical skills so I can be a reliable doctor. Personally, I got rejected by Glasgow for the first time, so I'm applying there just to spite them.
Actually, same, yes.
Yes, actually it's just spite. My personal goal is to spite them, really.
So, what was the option that was offered to you?
Like for the matching process? Or the first time?
Oh, the first time, yeah.
The first time. Oh, for the first time I went through another portal, you direct entry to UK. So I applied to Glasgow, Birmingham, Imperial, and I think UCL. I got rejected by everything, like every university, because I think it was like after COVID, so like the quota for international students was still low. Yeah.
Understandable. Well, I think you spited them.
Success.
Victorious, guys.
Yes.
Well, all right. I really particularly liked that episode, and since I also personally know both of them, I expected some similar answer from Nia. Actually, I was waiting for something to come out of her, but I'm curious actually. Well, we have a PMS student here, which is our beloved Faustina. So why don't you tell us, why did you choose wherever that you're going?
Alright. So, the way our PMS system works is you rank the universities according to from first to last, like what you want to go to, what's your ideal university. And I put number 1, Buckingham. And I got Buckingham, so I'm extremely happy. And what made me, thank you, and what made me choose Buckingham is, first of all, the intake is quite near, so I don't have a long break in between the semesters, so I get to keep my knowledge fresh. But more importantly is, when you look at their accommodations, it's very nice, and they're very focused on a lot of their student population, especially their January intake. About 10% of it is just international transfer students, so they deal with a lot of transfer students, so I wouldn't feel like out of place, and I know that this university has dealt with it, and they have an excellent track record. They're one of the safest campuses. I'm very happy with what I got. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's quite the answer there. But also, Faustina, I want to know, what made you personally choose Buckingham? Like was there something that you particularly liked about it, looked forward to?
Really, I quite like what the atmosphere seems to be like. I like the idea of studying with a lot of international students, because I'm someone who's never studied internationally at all. Like my first exposure to actual a place full of foreigners is actually IMU, and I've really enjoyed it. You get to learn from the people you're learning with, and I'm excited to take that to the next level.
Okay, all right. Well, I actually have another question for Sarvesen. Actually, as you know, that Sarvesen and I are doing the local track, and I wanted to ask Sarvesen. Okay, ignore the PMS system. If you had of any country that you could practice medicine in, where would you go? Any place at all.
I'd still choose Malaysia.
Really?
You're insane.
Yeah, you really are, actually.
Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
Fair enough.
But yeah, the familiarity of the place, I think I'm loving this place too much that I don't want to give it up.
Okay.
Yeah, the idea of practicing medicine elsewhere has popped into my mind. But actually going to different places and seeing how things are getting done there. I mean, the workload is lesser, sure. Is it more conducive to learn? Absolutely. But there's nothing I could say here except for, these are, in some way, they are my people.
Okay.
And this is my place and this is my country, why should I give it up?
That's a lot of patriotism right there.
It is. I thank Nagaraku and every single patriotic song we were forced to sing in primary school for that. I had to thank it.
You enjoyed standing up Monday mornings, yeah?
I was supposed to be the one who was the pole flag thingy. Raise it up. So since I was the tallest guy, I had to do that.
I see. Okay. Have you been to a government school, Faustina?
Yeah, I went for I think a couple of months before I switched to private.
Yeah, I went for I think a few years when I was really, really young. And I remember those Monday mornings. I was like, oh my god! Like the thing, and I'll just be standing there. I'm like, yes, you know. So yeah, and then I think they shifted me soon after that. But yeah, like I see where Sarvesen is coming from as well. Fair enough, guys. Fair enough. And
but what do you do, Akshay?
What about me? Oh my god, I was hoping you wouldn't come there. As you already know, I was initially a PMS student. But my mom kindly requested that I stay back, and like, you know, it was just like there was a lot that played in. Okay, so I personally, but my mom did say like my parents were like, you know, like we just want you to stay for your education, and they want me to leave. So for myself, I would really like to go back to like the outside because I enjoyed it there the most. Mm-hmm. I don't really feel how do I say this in a nice way? I don't really feel like as if I belong here. Like I love Sabah. Like I really love Sabah, but I think it's Sabah that I love the most, and other than that, I think I like it outside a lot more. Like if you were to ask me to practice medicine in Malaysia, I'll probably just run back to Sabah. But other than that, I would like to go back to either to the UK or to the US because I really liked it there. But if you ask me now, once I do finish my education, I'll probably try for other countries, just given the sake that I like, you know, if the opportunity is there. But to answer you, I would like to leave as well as Faustina is leaving soon, actually.
A follow-up question to that. Previously in the 5th episode, we talked about culture shock. You know how when you moved to the West Malaysia, specifically KL, you saw things get done differently and people were different. Do you think that influenced your idea of, you know, choosing the place you want to work in future?
Oh, it absolutely certainly does. It very much does, actually. After coming here, I felt that I felt more comfortable and belonged, and to a certain extent slightly welcomed a bit more on the outside and back in Sabah a lot more than here. So, and I think maybe I came out of different or whatever that it might have been, and just like the whole essence of it, I liked it elsewhere. Like I liked it in the US and in the UK and back in Sabah, even because I went for electives back in Sabah and I realized that the whole atmosphere there is different. So if you asked me, I think it does play a big role, and I would say that yes, I think coming here and, you know, living here for a while, and despite meeting absolutely fantastic people, I made some really good friends here. And despite all of that, I think my answer is still that I would either move back or go elsewhere.
Okay. I'd say that was a satisfactory answer. What would you say, Faustina?
Like, give him a grade?
Yeah, that answer. As a West Malaysian, can you accept that answer?
Hey,
I don't know, man.
A good friend of mine. When I said, like, you know, one of the good people I met her as well. So, you know, if you come, Faustina, I'm not going to be very happy about it. Just so you know.
Hey, listen, I don't think of myself as a West Malaysian at all. Like, whenever you talk shit about West Malaysia, I'm like, okay, whatever. I think of myself as a girl from Klang, though.
That gives it, guys, okay? I just want the two of you and the viewers to understand that was what Faustina said, and I'm very happy to hear that.
Okay. But yeah, before we wrap up this episode, any final words you guys wish to share? Let's start with you, Akshay.
We've come to the 7th episode, and I'm very, very proud of the team both of you, Sarvesen, my co-host, and also my vice president, has been hating me throughout. And I don't think this project would have stood without Faustina. She as the editor is, I think, the backbone of this project. And also we have the rest of our team, who's been absolutely great throughout the journey. And you have been meeting them in episodes, and I'm sure the ones who have not appeared will be appearing sometime during the journey as well. But regarding this episode, it was really nice. It was really, really nice to see all the episodes again, feel the excitement again, hear the voices of the speakers that came through. I think it's been a blast. I think it's been an absolute blast. What about you guys? Sarvesen, tell me.
That was almost tear-jerking. But yeah, as cheesy as that sounded, we do have a lot of unsung heroes in our team. Thank you to them. Guys, this is not a finale, just a forewarning. This is not the finale episode. We have more episodes to come. So, Faustina.
Alright. This was fun. I really enjoyed it. I feel like a sense of accomplishment just looking over like everything that we've created together, because this is all like a group effort. And also I feel like these episodes are kind of my babies. And remember, if you guys enjoyed those clips, go back and listen to the rest of the episodes. They're great. Like, genuinely, I'm super proud of what we've managed to create. Go and listen.
Alright. Thank you, Sarvesen. Thank you, Faustina. Thank you for the wonderful episode that we've done today. And I just wanted to thank again Faustina for editing everything, and also Sarvesen for co-hosting this with me. And I look forward for the viewers, and I hope to catch you guys again. And this is your host Akshay signing right off from Medically Speaking.